Hi, my name is Ron Dorn. I'm a professor in the School of Geographical Sciences and Urban Planning, and I'm the developer of the GPH 112 Geovisualization Lab on the landscape, the geomorphology of Arizona's Grand Canyon. I'd like to think of this lab as being the most interesting, the most eye-popping, the most relevant when you visit the Grand Canyon, and I hope it's also the easiest. The intent of this class is not to make things difficult, but just to challenge you to explore and interpret science, and in this case, the science of the Grand Canyon's landscape. So I'd like to share how I see the Canvas modules associated with this geovisualization lab. After you purchase the Grand Canyon geovisualization and you're provided the information on how to do so in the overview, it's a link on how you download and access the game. The game, by the way, plays very quickly, much faster than the Hawaii or even the Lightning or the microclimate game. I'd like to show you what you have to complete in the prerequisite in order to access the main geovisualization labs. So this is how we program it in on our end of things, that this module, you need to view the overview page, and you'll need to view it anyway to figure out how to purchase the geovisualization. You need to score at least 6 out of 6 or 100% on the tutorial, and you'll need to submit the quiz after watching the lecture. The reason why we have the main labs locked out until you finish the tutorial and get the background information is that in the past, when we haven't done this, students struggle. They really don't go through how to get the information that they need from the game, how to even order the geovisualization or the background information in the lecture. So we require that you at least watch or read or make an attempt by submitting the quiz. There's 2 ways to obtain the background information. One of them is to watch my presentation, and then when you click on the link, you'll be asked for a logon, which is GPH111, and you'll be asked for a password, which is Gaia, G-A-I-A. But you can obtain the same information and actually a bit more by reading it, either in a PDF format or a Microsoft Word format. And then you just take the quiz. There are 4 questions. Hopefully they'll be super easy after you've watched or read the material. Then the main geovisualization labs become accessible to you. Let me show you what you see. Basically, the prerequisite is that you finish the module up here in order to gain access to these labs. There are 5 labs. One of them is where you learn to think like a geologist in interpreting what you see in the Grand Canyon, where you begin to think like a geomorphologist on how the walls of the Grand Canyon make the cliffs and how those cliffs retreat back to make the canyon. And then 2 labs on interpreting the different components of the landscape, basically understanding how fast things change in the Grand Canyon in a 2-part lab. I'll do another presentation that helps you dealing with these rates of change as labs, especially the more complicated part 2. And the last lab is then the origin of the Grand Canyon. I like to think that these labs are going to be the most fun and the most informative and the most valuable when you visit the Grand Canyon the next time you go.